I like the way our names are today. So, all
Yeah,
right.
because it's just us two. So
I
we
mean,
are we are a little bit late. So
like,
our apologies. And we
sorry.
are missing two of our podcast members. So hang tight because we do have the beautiful Ashima Franklin is going to be joining us. She
Just
into the
landed.
just landed to the ATL. So hold on tight. She's going to
She
be
out
joining
here
us.
doing movies and stuff. But shout out to Ashima just walking inside of her purpose. I know we talk about it a lot, but it's good to see not only her, but then just yourself as well, Joe Keetra, and then also just Mike, aka Tight Mike,
Tight
is on,
mic.
he's on vacation, y'all. Okay,
Yes.
so we
Yes.
gotta bump the podcast. You can't do the podcast from the beach, Mike, right? So you couldn't have had your phone, but it's okay.
It's called commitment.
We're gonna get on you, Mike, while you're not here today.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay.
So I'm on vacation.
He's approaching his 50th birthday, so he deserves a vacay. So we'll excuse
Okay.
him for tonight.
Okay.
So we are going to be without one of our podcast members. Hey
Okay.
Martin,
What's
we're
going
going to be
on?
without one of our podcast members, Tight Mike, comedian Tight Mike. He is on vacation. He's preparing for his 50th birthday. So we are also waiting for the beautiful comedian Ashima Franklin, who was on Ready to Love
Yeah.
and was also on formerly on the Cat Williams show, and who is now doing big things, filming in
So,
12-hour days in Hollywood.
right.
So
We
we
can't even get a word in. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we got to sign up to talk to Ashima. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not mad. I need to have friends like that. I need that.
right, right. I'm
You
so
can still,
proud of her.
Ashima,
So
you can still get cussed out. Okay. You ain't never too big to not get cussed out. I want you to know that. Okay.
well, I missed Ashima, so I can't wait because I know she got some words for you. I'm gonna let Ashima tell you how I have felt about you for the last 2 weeks without her being on. So since I don't curse, I'm gonna let Ashima curse your tail out in
All
full
right.
force. In full
Hey,
force. So while we're waiting on Ashima, there are a couple things that we want to talk about. So, but first,
Keisha, let them know who you are because they
I
got to
was
know
gonna
about
say,
your breaking.
well,
Okay.
that's what I was gonna say. But first, I wanted to introduce you. You go, Elam King, who is I met Elam about several years ago. He has several books out, but I was actually at one of his book signings when he
Right.
came to Tallahassee. Help me understanding a man. And it was such a good book tour, book signing that I was so impressed with him. So when I was thinking about doing a show, he was definitely one of the main ones because if you, Elam, do you have your book close by? Hold it up.
Okay, I can do that. Hang
See,
on.
you got to be ready. The Bible say, "Be ye ready." You got to be ready. But
Okay.
his book is amazing. It's amazing. So he'll touch on that. But Elam will impress you because he comes with statistics, just all kind of knowledge that you're like, who knows that? But Elam does. So he's a relationship coach, and he lives in the ATL, and he is single, ladies. So holla at your boy.
See, oh my
So you
God.
can't give me a microphone. I got
Yeah,
a mic, y'all. I
listen,
got a
listen,
mic. I'm
y'all.
trying to be like Elam.
Let me tell y'all something. I mean, when you talk about the sunshine that walks through here, now she's gonna be super positive. She's got the most beautiful earrings. Do y'all see what you working with tonight? Jokey, tell us about your before we
Well,
dive in on this topic.
it's all about the earrings and this lovely microphone tonight. So my earrings are sparkly.
Right. And shout out to her also. I mean, just a blogger, just shaking and moving. She went to Africa. What was it? South Africa?
I went to Kenya.
Kenya.
I went.
You went
I've been to
to
South
and
Africa. I've been to South Africa, but I went to Kenya and did mission work there.
and it looked like a daggone movie, y'all. If you go to you gotta go to her Facebook, and I'm just sitting there feeling like she's like off in the motherland, and I'm solo, y'all. I was scared for her. I'm like, you're gonna go where? What? How long? You
Well,
bold.
I traveled by myself, but I met a group of wonderful men with Phi Beta Sigma who's been
Mhm.
doing it for 17 years. So I can't say that it was solo. I joined them, but I did travel
Okay.
by myself. But it was okay. I was good. I took God with me, so I'm never by myself.
Come
He's
on,
always
vitamin
with me.
P. I tell people to take their vitamin P Come on.
That's right.
That prayer, not the okay. Some people okay.
So Martin said that, are we that hard to understand? He'll get the book. So can you tell him how to get your book, Elam?
Actually, it's my answer to that, Martin. Before we dive in tonight, it's really that the reason why I wrote that book is because men, on average, we're not speaking, we're not sharing the information that we need to share, and allowing the Joe Keatras and the Ashimas, even the Ashimas of the world, to
I'm gonna tell him.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
get
tell him.
it tonight. And so see, look at Bobby. Look what Bobby said about you. He said your Keisha is just different, you know. But
What do you mean by just different? Okay, you're gonna have to expound on that. Even though I love Bobby Gaines, so I know it's positive.
But Martin, it was just a way. I interviewed 24 men about various topics of the heart, information that we need to share to help women understand us just a little bit more. So are we difficult to understand? I don't think that we are. It's just the fact that in order to understand somebody, you actually have to walk through levels of communication. And that's the reason why we have to help me understand podcasts, because there's just some things that we just don't understand, and we just trying to figure out who can help us understand some of this stuff. And so, Joe Keisha, I don't know if you want to go into the topic for tonight, because I don't know. It get a little spicy.
I think that you led into it. So one of the biggest topics for tonight, and I brought this question up, is I want to know why it's so hard for Black men to talk to their woman. So I want someone to help me understand. And it's so funny to me because I've talked to several guys today about, they want to know what the topic was. And then they were like, I want to join. Oh, I can tell you why. And I'm thinking, y'all are so quick to tell me why. But when you're in a relationship with someone, why is it so hard to communicate with your significant other about, really about serious things, about emotional things, about what to tell? What's all of that? I just want to simply know, why is it so hard? Why do so many African American men find it so hard to communicate with their significant other? And it seems like it's easier for them to communicate with women that aren't their significant other, but specifically with their significant other. Why is it so hard for men to be transparent, let their guard down, communicate really what's going on, just to share? Do you understand the question? Did it choke you up? You doing a me?
Yeah, because I just want to make sure that when I go, so here's the thing. I actually just had this conversation earlier today on a completely different podcast. We were kind of talking about pre-marriage and some of the things that are important inside of that space. And so let me just, if I could, I'm going to have to correct you, because you said, why is it for Black men? It's actually some Black men have a problem with speaking with some of the Black women that they're with, right? So it's not an all, it's a some. Okay. And so with that being said, we have to, in order to look at this, we have to dial back inside of a space that's entirely independent of Joe Keatra, right? So just imagine, Joe Keatra, you and I were dating, right? And so what you have to understand is that at the table, we have to now dial back for Elam to simply say that, how was I raised? I was not raised to be vulnerable about my emotions. I was not raised to speak about my emotions. If I'm emotional, right? And I emote and I'm feeling some type of way, it's been more taught that, that's more of a female, that's more of a femininity thing. And so, and then I'm not in counsel as well. Okay. And so if I'm feeling some type of way and I was raised this way, right? Then I meet you, Joe Keatra, right? And you think that just because your stuff turns into sunshine, then I'm just going to turn around and start communicating with you. And that's not the case. I actually have to unlearn how I was taught to suppress the way that I feel and have these emotions. And I have to now relearn, because you made me love you, right? And so now I'm feeling you, but I'm in a land of area of emotion that nobody ever taught me. And you and I both know that when it comes to life skills, let's just talk about finances. We never were taught the real skills about finances, right? Who is taught the real skills about relationships? We're all baptism by fire. Okay. Right? So the component that exists of communication, the reason why you might come at it in that type of way is because on the opposite end for you, you were taught to communicate your whole life. You were taught that well, on average, women are at a higher level of communication than men, and this is
I can
biological.
agree with that.
Okay, so women do 20,000 words a day, men do about 5,000, right? Estrogen causes you to communicate, okay, versus testosterone doesn't cause us to communicate. Now, this is on the natural biological level, right? So you have the biological pieces that exist in there, add in the subcultures that we were taught to do, all right? Now, let's be real, let's add in inside. Now, that's whether you're black, white, Hispanic, or whatever. Now, add in, I guess, the black card of it, whereas inside of our community, we don't seek help. We don't seek self-development, higher learning inside of relationships. So what do? We just go off of what we learn when Ray and them on the street, or what we see on social media or whatever, and then you have an explosion on the communication side. That's just my elevator version of why some men don't communicate with their spouses.
Okay, so you said so much there, and I want to make sure. First, I have a question to ask you. Do you communicate well with your significant other?
Now, yes. Before, nope. Absolutely.
Okay, so here's the thing. We're both seasoned. I'll say that. And you mentioned that I, grew up learning to communicate. That's not the case because my family, my dad was a worker bee, and my mom too. So they worked a lot. And even now, growing up, with our kids, we work a lot and sometimes we don't communicate. But
Right.
it's like when you become seasoned and you know what some of your issues are, it's kind of like you seek out ways to I guess navigate or learn how to communicate.
No, that's what Joe Keetra does.
Okay.
Average men are not doing that. We are not doing that. I will say that we have an accountability level when it comes to that. We are not doing it.
Okay, and then another thing. So is trust another issue too, because I'm thinking that when you love someone, you give them your heart. You need to trust them with what it is that you carry. I'm just asking, is trust an issue? Is that one of the reasons why a man may feel as if he can't trust a woman with what it is that he's dealing with or what he has to share, or his past hurt or anything like that, because he feels as if she's going to take it and use it against him later?
So I love that question because you got to excuse my faces as you say stuff. So you're gonna see me make a face here and there, but I want to actually thank you for asking that in that space, because yes, then what happens is that when you have some men that are so you start off, we don't even know about it, and then we have to learn about it, right? And that takes a level of maturity that most of us kind of stumble into because we didn't come out the gate learning that we should even be in communication with somebody about our feelings and our emotions, right? Okay, but then now when I lead towards that, right? Remember, there are a lot of women that were taught the same thing that we were taught, right? About men and the levels of sensitivity, right? So let me ask you this question, be honest. Have you ever made the statement, Joe Keetra? Why are you being so sensitive? Why are you being so emotional? Have you ever said that to a man? I'd be honest.
I'm thinking. I'm sure I have.
Okay, all right.
I'm sure I have.
All right, so here's the thing. We're going because remember, I'm going to pull out my ignorant card and slap it on the table and say what you hear right now is down the line. It's through self-development and personal development and just education. So I'm not trying to act like that I was always like this, right? So you have even women who actually want their man to open up and communicate with them, but then the fact that they even make that statement about why you're being emotional, why you're being sensitive, you send him as kind of like a turtle. You send him right back into his shell, like, I didn't even want to really be out here, and this already feels weird, but now you're saying it to me? And think about the single moms that are raising boys, right? Stop crying like a little girl. Stop acting, stop being emotional. What do? You're trying to teach him to be hard, right? You're trying to teach him to be built forward tough so that he can be strong as a young man, right? It makes sense in theory, but then when I meet Joe Keetra, I take that same space, that same thought process into my relationship. And I don't recognize the fact that I need to be vulnerable, that I need to open up. So I got society showing it to me. I got it what I was reared in doing. I have my mother who also said it to me. I got my daddy who also said it to me. And you think that just because Joe Keetra comes along with her sunshine, that I'm just going to turn around and be vulnerable? So when we say trust, is it just trust of that woman? Or is it just trust, period, inside of the feelings of before I open up and go down this route? that I actually can and should do this because I've been taught to not do it. And I think that we need to look at it as bigger than just, oh, you're insecure, man, or you're insecure, or your trust, or whatever the case may be. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. So does that make sense?
Well, I guess I'm really trying to understand, and I'm looking at some of the comments, and Bobby said that they have to be evenly yoked.
Right.
Marvin said it isn't just men. He said there are so many factors: time, stress, and willingness for each member.
Right.
Relationship must be able to accept the feelings of the either with acknowledgement.
Right. And I totally agree.
So
mhm.
I'm sorry. I wanted to ask, based on what you were just explaining, because I do agree with what Martin said too. I think there are so many factors. But at what point, if you love someone and you have, because he mentioned the physical side and there's also a spiritual side. So at what point because you said that you had to learn, you do now. So what did you do in order for you to feel comfortable communicating with your significant other? And at what, I guess, how much of that? Because I feel like nobody is really just going to share everything, to where they just can feel. Because I had a friend that, when we talk about men being afraid to cry in front of their woman, and I know he cried in front of his wife, like boohoo baby cried. And shortly after that, she called him a sissy and wanted to divorce him.
See, that's what
and
I'm saying.
I thought that was the most unfortunate thing, because I think that if a man can be in touch with that side of himself, I look at that as a beautiful thing.
Right.
But some women don't, because obviously she had some childhood trauma or issues that she hadn't gotten past. So in terms of the communication part, at what point did you get to where you felt comfortable being able to communicate and share with your significant other?
Well, I think that I might be a little different in my answer because after I tripped up and fell earlier in the marriage, I
Now,
started.
what do you mean by tripped up and fail?
Oh, well, I'm saying for some of the bad decisions that were made, some of the challenges that we were walking through. That's all. We'll just call that the trip up and fall, right? And so with that being said, then looking at the understanding of communication and how important that it is, and then I began to more research Elam first of who I was and the lacks that I had in this space of communication. I mean, I came up in a household it was 4 boys that we were raised together. So my mother was the only I guess female energy that was throughout the house. So it's kind of like you don't cry for nothing. You're not sensitive about nothing. You don't open up about nothing. Nobody cares the way you feel. Do as I say, do not as I do. So children are seen, not heard. You know what I'm saying? The myriad of things that we were all taught growing up, right? As men. And so I had to look back and see that first. I had to understand that my trip up, even prior to getting married, is that I didn't understand Elam. So but I thought I did, right? But I did not understand the lack of emotional intelligence that I had was huge, right? My intelligence for my schoolwork, I matched that with the fact that I could lead a marriage. My intelligence with my job, I looked at that as that I can lead a marriage. My intelligence with my friends of just like I'm cool with, I use that intelligence for my marriage. And guess what? Those topics right there are completely different than when I walk in my home and I'm leading in that space. So I had to then understand that. And then after learning that, then you turn around and look inside of your space and make sure that you make the proper adjustments, reading, all that good stuff is what I chose to do that. Having more than one counselor. I have, a financial one, a spiritual one, a business one, and one that I just called, just lay it out emotionally, cry, all that good stuff, and get it out. Because a lot of times as men, we suppress the way that we feel, right? And so men really do cry in the dark, because if we do it in the light, look what your friend did, right? She wants to divorce him, you know what I'm saying, over the fact that he's having that level of emotion. So there's a fear that's way bigger for men. It's way bigger than your significant other. It's that me getting over this hump is I have to undo what I learned as a child, right? Of not doing this. And I think that the the explosion and the perfect storm of turmoil that exists here is because on average, and this is what I wanted to make sure I plugged that in from when I was speaking earlier, Joe Keetra, you kind of responded where as you didn't have that growing up. Yeah, I get that. And on average, I think a lot of women weren't too, right? But you're biologically designed to do it. So your desire to want to communicate, even though, let me be very, very clear, there's a whole lot of women, Black women, white women, whatever, y'all don't know how to communicate. Communication is bigger than just saying, let's talk.
You're right.
Tone, right? You got tone, right? You have what, I like to say there's 4 conversations going on at any given point. It's what you said, it's what they heard, it's what you meant, and it's what they received. That's 4 different conversations. So what you said is what you want to match with what you meant. But if your voice tone is off, what you said will not get to what you meant.
Exactly.
And what he hears, he gonna process that, and the way he receives it is gonna be different, right? Mm-hmm. So all that has something to do, and the top 3 reasons for divorce: number 1, infidelity; number 2, finances; number 3, communication. Communication bounces back and forth with infidelity as the number 1 reason. So the majority of the time, in my opinion, because infidelity is actually communication lack. So the number 1 reason why that we're losing our marriages at 70% is because we're not communicating, and that's on both sides of the coin.
Okay. There are a few other comments here. Thank you for that. So Martin said, 1 Peter 3:7. He went biblical. Mm-hmm. Your husbands assign them honor as to a weaker vessel, the feminine one, according to knowledge. So in order for your prayers not to be hindered. Did you put, you put it up. I'm reading it from my phone.
So your husband assigned them honor as the weaker vessel, the feminine one, according to knowledge, in order for your prayers not to be hindered. Okay. What do you receive when you read that, Jogi?
So I think for when it comes to reading the Bible, I always like to read the verse before that and the verse after that.
Let's go in our Bibles here. Let's go in this.
Now we done turned to Bible study.
Let's go in our Bibles here. Just make sure KJV, NIV. You know what we got? Did
you pull out your Bible?
What? No, I'm right on my phone immediately. You ain't said nothing. If you don't have the Bible app,
I do have the. I do have
a whole other conversation, people.
Okay. I have the Bible app. I have the Holy Bible app. Yes, I do.
Not the Holy Bible app. No, so there's a Bible app, and then there's a Holy Bible app, which is.
Oh gosh.
1 Peter 3:7. Hold on, we're gonna have it. We're gonna go.
We finna go to the scripture. Since he done brought, well, I do think that it's important to go to scripture because that is what is supposed to be our roadmap to a lot of things.
1 Peter 3:7.
Oh, it said the delight in the day. That's the.
So you doing the NLT, the NIV, or the KJV? What you doing?
Lord have mercy. I'm just trying to get logged onto my app. That's what I'm trying to do.
To your wife, treat your wife with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life. Treat her as you should, so your prayers will not be hindered. I agree with that. Here's the thing. I know there's a whole lot of women that will push back on part of this, but the word is what it is, and I understand to treat her as a weaker vessel, and I think that that's something that us as men that we have to make sure that we're doing. I think the difference of that is women also understanding that part of the assignment too, is that if it's from a word perspective saying that you're the weaker vessel, where are we talking about where the weaker is? And so we don't want to have that conversation because
I don't think
is it physically? No, come on, I didn't say it. Which one is it? Is it emotionally? Is it physically? Or is it across the board? Because I don't see any specifics here. This is what he said now. Don't argue with me.
I am assuming that because if the man is supposed to be the head, that's in all areas, is what is being said. But in terms of what my question is and what Martin said, that still wouldn't necessarily, I think I would love to hear from him how that still explains a man communicating his feelings with a woman.
You know what? I think we should drop the link. Are you friends with Martin? I think we want to invite Martin on in here.
Oh gosh, look, Martin will feel like Martin,
Martin, let us know if you want to come on in here, man. We're gonna drop you the link on Joe Keetra, you should have it. you should drop the link in your Facebook Messenger so he can come on in here. If not, I think that because I just. Uh-oh. Can y'all hear me?
I don't know how to do that. It says you can bring Roderick Kellum on. I don't see where it says you can bring
Rod Cullum on. Where Rod Cullum? You on here, Cullum? Where you at, Cullum?
I don't know Roderick.
Can we just bring him all in the room? Cullum, what up, man? But I think that oh, Martin says sure. Okay, Martin. I'm going to Facebook and I'm gonna find you real quick. Hold on, Martin. Because I want to know.
While you're finding him, he says that there are healthy boundaries. The only person that actually cares about all of our feelings really is the creator himself. I disagree with that. This is why I believe prayer to be so important for me. It allows our higher power to level balance between each other of the marriage. So he when guide us individually, when to open up and how to shut up. I think that if you marry someone, that person should care about your feelings the same as if you should care about their feelings, you know. So I would have to disagree with that part because that's a part of loving someone and caring for them is caring about their feelings. So if a person, and I was watching TD Jakes this morning when he did a series on Real Men, and he talked about because the men are the head, so it's important for them to lead us in so many different ways. And he was talking about how we're losing our families because a lot of men are not leading, you know, and he titled his sermon as Real Men. So I have to share it with you. It's a good sermon to listen to.
Well, here's the interesting part about that, because we love to throw men. Hey, Martin, you should have the link in your messenger, and then Cullum, I'll come to you afterwards as well. Well, I might just drop it to both of them. We might just have
we need some more. We would love bring on more men.
Cullum, I'm about to throw it to you, Cullum. All right, because I want to see what your thoughts are as well. Yeah, actually, let them, because what pains me at times is that, you know, the same level of we're supposed to lead, but then unfortunately your peers are like, you're supposed to lead. Then when we try to lead, you don't let us lead. So the same level of First Peter that says, men, understand off the top that she is the weaker vessel, that you have to, you know, walk with that level of care. Okay, so the same level of men being the head, that has to be understood from you off the top. I don't have to earn being the head. I'm giving it.
Okay.
You don't have to earn being the weaker vessel, that I'm more sensitive to you. I give you that level of grace. You see what I'm saying? So that's where I have some difficulty there, because it's kind of like, yeah, we love to go down this, you are the head street and you're just not leading. Well, are you following?
Okay, I got something to say on that. Can I say this? I definitely agree with that.
Hold on real quick. Cullum and Martin, you can come on in. Hey, Martin, no, come on in here, Martin. Don't drop no comments. Come on in here, Martin.
They might not have been prepared to be seen.
Hey, listen,
they might just want to be heard and not seen.
He said sure. I want him to come on in here.
Oh, okay. Well,
come on in here? Go ahead.
Can I respond? Because yes, I absolutely believe what you're saying to be true. We are supposed to follow if the man is leading, but I also think that whenever we talk about anything in the word and following the word, first and foremost, you got to be a believer, because if not, it doesn't apply if you're not believing in the whole, you know, in the word in its entirety. You can't just pick and choose where you want to. So we have to be careful who we say that who's going to lead us and who we're going to follow, because if they're not leading you in the way that Christ wants you, what's his will, then it is difficult to follow someone in that sense.
Right.
And I guess that's where Bobby's comment about being equally yoked is what makes a difference.
And it does. So I'm going to go with that as being par, right?
Okay.
We're talking about believer. I'm not talking about Hebrew Israelite with Catholic, right? I'm not getting that, right?
Okay.
So this inside of that space, it would seem like sometimes your peers say things like, I want him to lead, but then when he lead, because of your discernment, right? The way that so you want me to lead, we could just say, go to the store, right? And because go to the store for you might be like that, right? I'm going to go from this point to this point, right? But my How do you come in? You have to go to your Facebook Messenger. I left the link in your Facebook Messenger, Martin, and the same thing for you, Cullum. So when you click on it, you'll come right in. All right. But here's the thing. So Joe Keetra go to the store, and so because when I start, going like this, you like, well, wait a minute. You got to go around the traffic because remember they got a detour over there, and then but remember the school buses are gonna arrive right about now, and remember there's some glass on that street and all this and that. I'm like, and where I'm going with it, right? You have some level of discernment, but your level of communication inside of that makes me be like, well, then why did you even want me to go to the store? Why did you want me to leave to the store if you could tell me about the detour?
So basically, we need to shut up sometimes and let y'all lead.
I mean, is that a question or is that an answer? Because I don't.
That's a statement. It's really a statement, and I find that to be true. I think that there are some areas that we could work on in that sense. I think a lot of times based on many different things, we probably don't trust the person to lead us. We could have been.
So you linked up with him, and you don't trust him to lead you. Then you need to leave him.
And that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing in a lot of relationships. I think that we probably didn't take the time to, and I know I can say this from my past. I didn't take the time to get to know him. We only dated for 3 months and he proposed because had I taken the time to get to know him,
I 3 months?
That's what I said.
Okay.
I said 3 months. Do you need me to repeat that? I said what I said. I said what I said.
3 months. Okay. All right.
I said what I said. And I learned that you definitely have to take your time to really get to know someone. Because if not, and I'm not saying that he wasn't a good person to follow. That probably, and I did follow him in a lot of ways, but there were some things that, I had to learn how to shut up and be quiet because I didn't go along with it. I mean, we moved so many times, but I know God blessed us to witness a whole lot of good things. You know what, Elam? Where is Ashima? Ashima, where you at? This is the time that I text Ashima.
Bobby, she said 3 months, Bobby.
You missing the whole point.
Oh, no, I'm not missing the point. Oh, I hear what you're saying, though. And there could be, are you saying that was a premature decision?
Absolutely. Okay. It was, which is why I'm where I am now, because I definitely know I want to take the time to get to know someone. And I know I was having this conversation with a friend the other day about how we choose our spouses, and that spills over when our kids, later on, and you observe some things about your kids, and it's like, wait a minute, did you really take the time to get to know your Hi, Ashima. There she is.
I'm really. Oh Lord. Look, got the bathrobe on. She went and got comfortable for us. She said, "I'm gonna holler at y'all in a second. I ain't mad at you."
I had to take my clothes off and take that bra off. I had to take that bra.
I'm a big person.
That bra was too tight. I'm sorry.
Take it off, girl.
It was a mud.
I'm not mad at you.
Let them roam free.
Please.
When I come home, I like to take my clothes off. You can't have your outside clothes. You come home, get in the bed. I think that's so nasty.
I have been holding everything on the inside. I just had to go.
Well, Ashima, I am so glad that you are with us. So, everyone, this is the lovely and beautiful Ashima Franklin that just touched down in the ATL. We have been. I'm going to tell you, I have missed you. I can't speak for Elam and Type Mike.
Right.
I have missed
We've been good
so much. And Elam needs to be cussed out. Can you cuss him out for me, please?
Yes. I hope they've been ganging up on you, Joe Keetra. Oh, my God.
You know what? Elam has been very complimentary, but some of the things that he said, and we're purposely saving a subject about erectile dysfunction and the walls for when Type might come back next
That's going to be next week's conversation, definitely.
Yes. Okay. I needed you with me on that one.
Get your
What's up
walls
with Eve's
together.
new background, the new microphone, the headset? Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to get it. We're evolving.
Listen, I got me a microphone, girl.
Production now, like
Ashima, I got me a microphone. I'm like Chris Brown and Usher. I got me a microphone.
Hey,
now,
listen.
Okay, well, I gotta get me a microphone.
Yes,
I'm
go to Ross.
Amazon.
Go to Ross.
Hey, look, y'all, we're gonna get back to the topic in a second. We just had to have a family reunion real quick because we haven't been
My bad.
2-3 weeks or whatever. So we just but I will say Ashima went like Joe Keetra's on a different level tonight because she got her little gold microphone.
It's nice, Joe Keitra. I'm on
grab
too.
Grab the microphone.
I got this from Ross. Ross, girl, Ross.
Grab the microphone.
It's cute.
Okay, Joe Keitra, do that again. Just, what was you doing with the microphone? Just
it looks
Ross,
like
Bobby. See, Bobby, that's the 3 months right there. That's the 3 months.
Bobby.
3 months right there.
Oh Lord, Bobby.
Hey.
Bobby, I ain't been seeing Bobby name to disagree with me. You know, Bobby don't agree with nothing I say.
Bobby, my peoples. See, look at he said have mercy. So Ashima, this is what we talking about. So I want to get your take on this. Actually, no, Joe Keisha, you that was your question lead in with to Ashima. I want to make sure I ask it correctly.
Listen, Ashima, Elam has invited 2 more guys to join, which would be great because my question is, I wanted to know why is it so difficult for, I said black men because that's who I'm dealing with. Why is it so difficult for black men to share, to communicate, to talk to their significant other? So that's what we have been talking about. And I said that the moment I mentioned the topic to a few men today, they immediately were like, ooh, I can tell you, I know. And I'm like, why are y'all so quick to respond? But when you're in a relationship, you ain't talking, you know?
Right.
So what's up with that? Because I do talk to a lot of men that I'm not involved with, and they do share about their personal situation. And I'm like, well, does your girlfriend know? You know, does she know how you're feeling?
Right.
And pretty much they really don't. Or they haven't scratched the surface.
See,
I think they'd be trying to
right before you answer.
avoid it for some reason.
You said what?
I think they try to avoid things when they're in a relationship.
So
Like
you heard her, Elam. She said that she feels that y'all try to avoid certain topics, you know, and I know where she's coming from because I know my last relationship, I always would say, why is it so hard for you to really share with me? Why can't you be transparent with me? You know, because it's like, I want to know more about you.
So,
Ashima said she coming back.
I was gonna say her microphone kind of. See, this is why Mike. Before I answer the question, see Mike and Ashima. I don't know what's going on in the comedian industry, but I need y'all to take one of them fat checks y'all got. I need y'all to get a microphone. As a matter of fact, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to commercial break right now, and we're gonna take a moment, and we're gonna go back and contribute to the fund. This is the comedian fund because the comedians seem to not have the microphones that are necessary. And it's just, we understand that we got big movies and popping and stuff like that or whatever, Ashima, but I need you to take a piece of that check. I need you to go get you a microphone as soon as possible, okay? Thank you so much.
I actually got a new phone. I actually got a new phone and you guys sounded so good and then I don't know what happened.
Well, it's good now. It was just like doing this little pixelated, you know, but there it goes every now and then. But it's fine. If you just hit mute when you're not talking, it's not that bad. But
okay.
Ashima, you was answering that question.
No, he got to try to throw in there that he wants me to get something new. You always try to throw that in there. Okay.
I was just okay. Go ahead.
And then one day I had, what was that? Well, did y'all send me like $3, $4? I was like, where's this money coming from on my Cash App? I was like, where am I getting $3 $4? Did I look?
We paid towards the microphone. We put a down payment on the microphone.
We was always like, we went to commercial break. Listen, I need Bobby, Cullum, Martin. Okay, let's see who else is on this phone. Bobby Cullum, Martin. I need y'all to go to your Cash App, and I need you to go to $ Ashima Franklin. Okay, we're gonna put it up here on the banner.
No,
did you,
Elam, bring them on board. Archie, I thought you were bringing them on the screen.
They didn't daggone it. Hold on. They didn't. Okay, Ashima's back. Okay, there she go right there. Okay, they didn't click on it. Must not want to come on to the link. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? I just put it out there.
They want to be heard. They want to be heard but not seen.
Yeah.
So Ashima was saying that she feels that they're afraid to communicate with us. So does anyone want to tackle that? Any male?
Mm-hmm. And there goes the Ashima Franklin. There you go. $. Is it a $ Ashima Franklin? Ashima, is that what it is? We're gonna tie. Y'all gonna tie the night on this call because y'all getting some nuggets.
Martin said it didn't work. He said he tried, but it didn't work.
Really?
Yeah. So at any rate, can we address the comment that Ashima said when she said that she feels that you guys are afraid to communicate? I can't answer that. Only you guys can.
No, I don't. We're not gonna go with that we are scared to communicate. We're gonna go with the fact that the way it's a complete package, right? It's not only that we have a fear of communicating, right? It's also the fact that Ashima dropped off. It's also the fact that you are not communicating in the tone. You're not allowing, you're not fostering an environment sometimes that is benevolent, that allows me to become vulnerable. Remember, I'm walking into this space behind, right? And the same level of grace that we're actually instructed to give to you inside of what looks like all spaces, from an execution space right here, I'm saying that, hey, we have been taught to do this wrong. We've been taught to do this wrong. You cannot neglect the fact that we were taught to do this wrong. So if we were taught to do this wrong in our process, in our plight to, move forward, there has to be a level of grace, or there should, if you want a productive relationship, I believe there should be a level of grace of understanding at least why. I'm not saying that you have to accept it and just blanket it across the board for all men. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, just understand what we exist inside of. It's kind of like systemic racism. No, it's not. It doesn't talk about that in the Bible per se, but maybe it does. But we have to understand what we exist inside of. It shouldn't have to be like this, but that's what we live in. If you're in America, that's what you live in. You live in a systemic racism area. So now that we know that, and we finally getting to the point where we're acknowledging that, now how can we operate that and sift through that and move through that? That's all I'm saying. We have to acknowledge where men's conditioning has come from to not be forthright with our emotions. Does that make sense?
To a degree.
You know what I'm saying? No. That's what I'm saying. That's wrong. That is wrong, Jokisha. That's wrong for you not to act like that. That's not something that we don't live in.
Oh, I agree with that. Yes, I definitely agree with the society that we live in. I definitely agree with the racism. I definitely.
No. We're not talking about racism. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the conditioning that has gone for Black men in this space.
Yes, I can agree with that.
A lack of emotional intelligence. It was taught by our mothers and fathers that preceded us. Would you agree?
Okay, I can agree with that. I think that.
Somewhere.
Okay, here's the thing. I think that just like I was saying earlier, and what I need help understanding is, if so many men, we've heard this, we constantly hear that that's an issue. So why is no one or it seems as if they're not doing anything about it to make it better? Because we need you guys, we need y'all, we need, as TD Jakes was saying, to take our families back. We need for our men to truly be the head of the household and to lead us, so we're comfortable with following. So why is it?
Oh, no. That's where we got a problem. No, you're not going to slide that past Elam King. You're not going to slide. We need to be comfortable with following. That's what you're supposed to do off the top. Well, that's what we said. No. So you don't need to be comfortable with doing anything. You just need to do it. And I think that that's where we have a different. Now, do I in the context overall, do I feel like that men need to step up and operate inside of this space better? Yes. Yes, I do. Right. But let's not act like when you said those words, that was not a slip. When I feel comfortable with
it wasn't a slip. It wasn't a slip. It wasn't a slip. And the reason why it wasn't a slip is because the exact same reason that you just said that you know that men need to do. So we can't be comfortable following someone if that person is not in tune, does not know where to take us. You know what I mean? Cannot communicate where to take us. We can't be comfortable following someone who can't even lead themselves or articulate what is going on or to the family where we need to go. So that's why I said comfortable, because trust me, if you have a man that can do all of those things, we should be, and we will definitely. Heck, I followed my ex-husband in times when I knew that he was wrong, but because I respected his position as a man, even when there were times when I said to him, hey, these aren't your stores to take, but he still said, I'm going to take them, and took them. I still followed him because I understood my position as a wife. So I don't feel that. Well, there are some of us that have an issue with that. I guess where I'm just trying to go is at 50 years old, I'm thinking that when I meet a man, I'm hoping that he is someone that I'm okay with easily following. And I'm hoping that he can communicate what's going on with him and trust me with it.
Okay, so I'm trying to drop this in on our page. Because they're saying that they don't see it, and whatever.
Well, both of them said that they tried, but it didn't.
Yeah, I guess it's something I did wrong or whatever, because I really would like.
So it was an operator error with you being the operator. Because you're normally good about doing that. So you dropped the StreamYard into the podcast page. So Elam put the StreamYard link into the podcast.
Is it on there? Do you see it?
Yes, I see it. So
okay. Now, that don't mean everybody come in here. I just dropped the link on the page. So I need Martin to click on that, see if you can come in, right?
So Martin is saying that if we all have free will, a woman can only follow me lovingly if I provide the spiritual, mental, and emotional security that will help her feel secure obeying me. And that's true. I definitely agree with that. And I think that if those things are displayed, a woman should definitely not have an issue with following a man.
So basically we have to just walk into the equation, just understanding what you are, right? And so you don't have to walk into the equation understanding what our position is supposed to be.
No, we do.
Hi.
We definitely. There's Martin. We definitely.
Hey, brother, how are you? Hey, how are you? I'm good. I'm good.
I'm sorry. Okay. So I guess Roderick is coming next, but we definitely need to understand that. And I think that one of the examples that TD Jakes said in what he was sharing was that his wife was disappointed about something, and he took the time to go and cater to her needs because he knew and understood his wife. So he did that. And that's why I'm saying that it definitely needs to be understanding on both sides. But even when us as a female, a woman in the relationship can say to our man, when we know that there's something going on, and I know I've asked before in past relationship, hey, what's bothering you? What's going on? But he refused to share what's going on. And I'm thinking, well, how are we going to even get to know each other better? If we're supposed to be one, become one. How are we going to do that if I know that something is bothering you, but you refuse to share it? How can it happen?
I'm going to let Martin answer that, and I'll probably just follow up after that. So go ahead, Martin. And your camera is amazing, by the way, sir. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You got that HD joint. That's what's up. But go ahead.
I need a comedian camera. Give me the question again, Joketra, one more time.
The question is, because I was just going off of past experiences, is that I have had a significant other that I know that something was bothering him. I know that something was wrong. And I've said to him, hey, what's going on? Talk to me. I'm here. And his comment would be, it's okay. I'm good. I'm all right. Ain't nothing wrong. But his whole, behavior, disposition, everything still showed that something was wrong. So I was saying that if you're in a relationship, especially if you're leaning towards marriage and you're talking about becoming one, why would you not want to share that information with your significant other if something is bothering you?
Well, like Elam was saying, I can't speak for every brother, but I can speak for myself. Me personally, I would, in a situation like that, our responsibility as men, providing emotional, spiritual, and mental security for women, you have to protect your mate, your wife, even from yourself. That's the responsibility we have. So when things are bothering on and there's too much pressure on us, that's why I wrote the comment about prayer being so important for me. Sometimes you as a man, and I'm supposed to protect my mate. If things are poisoning my mind and my spirit, it got me out of whack, angry, and fearful. Why would I burden her with that? And sometimes some of us don't know.
Oh, go ahead. No, but Elam, before you go, because I have a question I want to ask.
No. You're not gonna go to another question. No, we're gonna stay right here.
I'm just saying the commentary to what he was saying, a question that you can answer too.
Okay, no, because one of the things that he just said was regarding. Okay. So let me ask you this question, Martin. Can we acknowledge the fact, because that's what I'm only getting bits and pieces from Joketra, to be honest with you, right? Because I don't feel that she's fully acknowledged the fact that how you were raised, Martin, and how I was raised, okay, that we have to acknowledge that is what it is. The baseline is I was taught to not do the levels of communication. Would you agree, sir?
Not completely. I can't, because I know, to a degree I can from society, but not in my home. My mom and dad been married 61 years.
So we'll go outside of our homes. Is there any validity in me saying that
socially no? Socially no. Socially socially no.
Okay.
But I guess we're different. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So if you know better, you do better at some point, right?
We were taught
a lot of things, were exposed to a lot of things that we were taught to say no to drugs, don't drink and drive.
Okay. So we're gonna minimize. So you're minimizing. See, oh my gosh, I can't. Okay.
I'm not trying to minimize.
You're trying to compare it to you know what? Okay, go ahead. Okay, Color. Okay, Color. Let me ask Color. Okay, Color. Same question I asked Martin, can I ask you, right? Okay, do you feel outside of your home, but you can say inside of yours as well, on average, were men taught to not communicate? If we had to start from somewhere.
They weren't taught to not communicate, but
not how.
I mean, showing your feelings wasn't a big thing they told us about doing, basically.
Thank you, sir.
And now these days it's more of a be careful showing your feelings, because she might use it against you at some point. And that's the problem with today.
And that answers your original question, Joketra. It's a part of an answer, because I'm not going to let us take all the ownership here.
Okay, well, Can I ask, since we have 3 men that have chimed in, has that happened to any of you that you have shared and it has been used against you?
Yes.
So sure. Of course. Yeah. Most definitely.
Okay. So
that's what makes us not want to communicate.
Exactly.
The way you're.
Let me ask you this. So then that means that, have you healed from that, or you take that into your next relationship and assume that every woman is going to use that against you?
No, I mean, me personally, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't, judge one by the past, or the next one. No, I ain't gonna do this because the last one did this.
Well, then
That's
why
not
y'all
me.
don't share?
It just makes it hard to do it. Really, I mean, in my opinion, it just makes
wouldn't that be an oxymoron?
I wouldn't say it's an oxymoron, but I understand what you're saying. I just don't. I mean,
I'm gonna go ahead and say we do
open
take it
book
from
now.
one relationship. Cullum, we do take it from one relationship to the other. I'm saying it. You dance around it, but I'm saying yes, we do. I mean, have some of us healed from that, Joketra? No. So you have to put the background, and
Well,
now
then-
the foreground is you're perpetuating it. And I don't want to make this an excuse for men because we have to do so much better in this area. But daggone it, y'all gonna give us some place to start at. Where we're gonna start as we were taught it, you were taught it, we gotta do better. We need to do better, but stop acting like this is not something that wasn't taught to us.
Okay, so the first step is acknowledgement. So if we've acknowledged it, can I ask you three gentlemen, what can we do better, or how can we make that? Because I really do think that it's a very significant thing in relationships. You know, isn't it ideal if you can meet someone and they're your, truly best friend, you can communicate everything to them. You can feel like I can tell this person everything. They're not going to judge me. That's who you go to first.
Comes down the road. I'm sorry.
You said what now?
That hopeless romantic stuff.
That's that fairy tale that
No, it
everybody
happens.
looks for.
Listen, it's true. It happens. There are some relationships that are like
well,
that.
yeah, I mean, it does. I would imagine, but
And I think that more of us can have relationships that are like that. Don't throw it out.
Oh, we're 1 minute or 2 minutes over. Oh, look at the time, everybody.
So,
we can't go down this hopeless romantic street because we're over our time.
Oh my God.
I'll answer that question.
Tune in next week to fairies, and we're going to have some elves.
Where's
Ashima?
I need Ashima.
We're going to have all that next week.
But no, I seriously, I want to know the answer. What can we do to kind of bridge that gap, to make that type of communication better between our African American brothers and sisters?
We all need to learn how to listen to one another better.
yeah.
All of them. Period. We all need to learn how to listen better. Take the time.
Women need to start listening to men. That's what he just said. Because we've been listening to y'all. Okay?
You're not even listening.
Start listening to us. No, we listen to you.
You're not even listening.
No choice but to listen to you. And we need to say what it is. Women don't listen to men. Okay? I'm going to say some. I'm not going to blanket it like how you try to play us. Some women don't listen to some men.
You just misquoted everything that Martin said.
My bad, Martin.
That is not what he
said. Hey, you good, brother. You good. You good.
Martin, that is not what you said. Martin, that is not what you said. You said we. You didn't say women. You said we. Am I correct? Because I was listening.
I did. Okay. I did.
So we all just heard Elam misquote Martin, author Elam King. So, we can both.
You know what? I gotta say this. He does have a point, because, like you said originally, we the men, we supposed to be the head of the household. Right now, a lot of sisters don't realize that how society has tried to destroy us as a culture. A lot of us have been in situations because of society where we don't have what most of the sisters got today. Period. So everything has been reversed. So it's going to take some intelligent sisters that are, aware, to be able to humble themselves and say, you know what?
Right.
In order for me to be the queen that I am, I need to help this gentleman I see manifest and becoming the king.
Don't you say that, sir. Don't you put that level of accountability on women, sir.
I got to do it.
No, don't.
I got to do it.
No, don't do that. It's because you have to lead all the time. And don't you falter. Don't you get it wrong. Okay? Because once you do, I have a loophole to not give you the respect and the levels of what you need to pursue. Don't you put that accountability on them, Martin. No.
If you have to, if the shoe fit, put it on. Run with it. Run with it.
Okay.
Put it on the run.
That means they gotta walk in with an accountability.
Okay.
It depends on, Joe Keecher, the way she dresses, she looks like she wears accountability really well, and a lot of sisters do. It ain't what you do, is how you wear it. And sometimes got to change the lens. Got to change the lenses of how you look at things.
All right, I agree with that. So,
Yeah.
Look at that! Look at the time.
I want to ask Mr. Roderick. I mean, do you have anything to add to what Martin said about things that we can do better?
No, I mean, well, a lot of women do hear what we say,
Thank you.
but they only hear it. They don't listen. There's a difference.
Oh, she
There's
does.
a difference.
Goodness gracious.
There's a difference.
Oh, golly. That's a
You said it was time. You said it was time to go. You said it. You said it. I heard someone say it's time to go.
No, let's stay right here.
I heard someone
We've
say
never had the odds look like this, and we are, for all those listening, this is a loving conversation. We love Joe Keecher, but Ashima ain't here, and we going in. But really, we got to wrap up in like 2-3 minutes.
I do want to say this, because I do think that we need to have more, I don't want to call them hard conversations, but it's necessary for us to have these type of conversations and dialogue, because we really got to make some changes within our community. We really do. And it has to start somewhere.
That clip is going up first thing in the morning right there. What Colum just said. That's the first clip.
Anyway,
I'm going straight to the end of this, and I'm cutting that clip. That's the first clip going up tomorrow.
Y'all
don't listen. You hear us. You don't listen. And somebody needs to say it. And I'm done with it. I don't.
Well,
he dropped the headphones and the mic.
Thank you too for joining us tonight. We really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you guys.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Come on in the room.
I enjoyed it.
Well, good. So y'all just be ready for any future, because Elam needs somebody to be on his side.
I don't need anything. They were naturally. We didn't. This is an organic conversation, and we just somehow naturally to fall on the same page. Oh
but before I go, I gotta say, Joe Keecher, you did a wonderful job of dealing with all three of us. So
yes, you did.
You set a sterling example for so many women that are going to see this. So you did a good job.
I hope so, because there are so many women out there that are really ready to hear, and that listen. So thank you.
Come on.
Beautiful thing. You're welcome. Good night, guys.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining. Cullum, thank you for joining. And thank you guys all for listening. Next week, we will be back with the 4 of us. The gang will be here. Ashima will have a mic, and a tight mic will
we're going to talk about erectile dysfunction.
Okay.
Okay.
And the topic will be, this is a major topic next week. So, I mean,
Glad to hear that.
Got to talk about the walls and the dysfunction. The walls and the dysfunction. So, we'll see y'all later. Thank y'all.
See you next week.
All right.
See you next week.
All right.
Good night, everybody.